through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. The Nate and Garrett Show.
And now, welcome to the Nate and Garrett Show.
Prepare yourself.
Prepare yourself to be transported to the furthest reaches of reality. As the hosts unravel the mysteries of the universe, the depths of the deep state, the truth hidden in plain sight, all while bringing you the news from this week. Please welcome your hosts, Nate and Garrett.
Hello, everybody.
We made it. We're live.
We made it. Yep. Sorry. Lady, 2 weeks in a row. Gosh, dang it.
We got to keep our viewers on their toes. They never know
That's
when.
right.
They never know when we're going live or not. That's how we
we're slowly figuring out the technical difficulties. So we're here.
Yeah, we had more technical difficulties. But we think we got it solved.
Another big week. Yeah. At least for now. But another big week, Nate.
Oh, yeah. Always, Garrett. Always.
Yep. Financially, I guess we're going to do some quick financial news rundown. Did you see Moody's, which is that credit rating agency? They downgraded USA basically debt on Friday. Did you see that?
What took them so long?
I know.
How many decades?
You know what? They should maybe be a little bit concerned, because obviously we're on just an unsustainable path. But also, I'm not sure the morality of what they've done to us and our kids and our grandkids and everything. The reality of what they did to them is obviously very immoral. They should not be borrowing off of our kids and our future kids and our future just to have the USAID foment a bunch of wars across the globe just to go and help their stock portfolio or whatever the hell they get out of this. I don't even quite get what they get out of this.
Dude, the national debt is a crime, like you said, against our generation and the children, and it should never be allowed to not be balanced.
No, and really, I don't even know the constitutionality of this. Like, how is this saddling on our backs?
Yeah, no shit.
And our unborn kids and grandkids.
Dude, that's a great point. How can our generation be liable for this debt that the fucking the idiot people before us,
these immoral buffoons, that were buying votes? And I guess soft power is now what the media, Reddit, liberals are saying, that Trump's messing up America's soft power. If our soft power is costing us these trillions of dollar deficit every year, I don't fucking want it. I don't want it anyway. No, we're not Team America World Police. It is crazy because liberals were supposedly against that forever until we have someone coming and kind of taking that away. And now all of a sudden it is so important for our future.
Yeah.
If you sat anyone down and explained to them, here's our debt, here's our deficit, what do we do? I don't think you can find many people going, that's fine, keep it up. But what we see happen is someone tries to actually go in there, Doge or whatever it is, and look and say, there is so much waste. We got to start cutting this. And they act like we're cutting stuff, that we're stealing it from people. What? You're making cuts to Medicare? You're stealing this from people. No, there's no money there. There's no money.
Oh, it's a shame.
What? USAID? We're not sending condoms to Palestine? Sorry. If you think that's a worthy cause, go ahead and set up a GoFundMe for it, but we're not going to force our unborn kids to have a GoFundMe and take it out of their pockets, because that's what's happening.
Yeah. Not to mention that the interest is so high now that it's like our entire gross GDP goes to paying the interest.
You still hear people say, Trump's talking about once we get to the basically balanced budget of cutting taxes if you make 150,000 or less. I still get people ask me like, how are we going to build roads? Your tax money doesn't go to roads. Most of it goes to paying off that massive deficit. 40% of the United States doesn't even pay taxes. So take it out of what you will. I mean, there's 40% that paying nothing into taxes, and they're worried about the middle class getting raped and saying, well, what about these roads? Yeah. That's the thing too, that we cut US aid. Dude, I don't even want to call it that. USAID. That's not even 1% of the budget. What do you think roads are? 0.001? Yeah. It's not much. So take that 0.001 of USAID, put it towards roads if it makes you feel happy, and then start cutting.
Yeah.
Because really, it's not the government's place to be spending our money like this.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the more you cut, the better.
Yeah.
But it is funny that their go-to is always roads.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah.
And then anytime you try cutting anything, you have the media just going crazy, going, you're taking away Medicaid benefits. And he said over and over and over, he's not taking away Medicaid benefits. But yes, there's going to be cuts to Medicaid. And it's just anytime the media will act like, yeah, we all get that. We all get that we can't have this deficit. But you're cutting, you're taking this, you're cutting this. You're killing millions of people. And it's they think it's immoral to cut anything. But at the same time, they act like, yeah, this is the problem here. And so their solution, I guess, is do communism better. I don't know what their solution is, but that sure seems like what they're acting like. Yeah, higher taxes. Rich pay their fair share, even though the rich pay basically all the taxes to begin with.
Yeah, and the ultra rich will never pay any because they control the system anyway. So, I mean, that's like, it's just a pipe dream. But Garrett,
they're taking it.
Oh, go on.
So they're just taking it out of one pocket, putting it in the other through U.S. aid.
Yeah.
They were paying their taxes, but then getting it right back through U.S. aid.
Yeah. Taxation's theft, especially when the government doesn't use it for anything.
Especially when they're taxing our unborn kids and grandkids. Okay. That's when it's really theft.
To the Federal Reserve and stuff. But we've made this point many times on the show, and I think we covered it.
You know what I haven't said before, though? Okay. I think eventually. So obviously, bonds, yada, yada, yada. There is debt like that. Yes, we know that. Just like how individuals have good debt, but there's also bad debt. I think eventually Moody's should be worried because we hold all of the nukes. We have the giant, powerful army. Eventually, it's kind of like, well, we need a president to come in and say, we're not the ones that lent this to you. Our corrupt government did. We're not paying it back. Good luck.
Dude, I would love that.
Yes, I think someone needs to do that eventually.
Who do we owe this to? Quick, we forgive ourselves of the debt. So no debt.
Exactly. Yes.
Honestly, something like that. Honestly, like I would really support that.
Like I said, there's gonna be a lot of debt you can't do that on. But still, there's gonna be a lot of debt you can do it on.
Yeah, I like that idea. Why are we beholden to someone else's?
Yep, we didn't make that. Yep, yeah. we didn't make that obligation.
One more thing that we've said on the show a few times, you especially have said, is that the Democrats stealing the election in 2020 really boomeranged and backfired on them, and
big time. Yep.
Made this great thing where Trump gets to be president, like, with the House and the Senate and knowing what snakes they all are, and gets to come in and actually make America great again. And Trump recently gave this speech. I don't know if you've seen this, but watch this.
And we got the Olympics, and then we got through Johnny, who's the boss. He's a friend of mine. We got the World Cup. I got them both. And I said, man, I won't be president. I got the Olympics and the World Cup, and I won't be president. And they're going to forget that I got them. Nobody's going to mention it because, a little bit, that's the way life is. And then they rigged the election. And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again, and I'll shove it up their ass.
How great is that, dude? I'm
He
gonna
just
let
does
him.
not care. Yeah.
That's epic too. I'll run again and shove it up their ass. But let's let him keep going.
And that's what I did. And all of a sudden, I then realized, I said, you know what? I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I got the 250th. Look at the way this works out. So if they would have left us alone and wouldn't have cheated on the election and wouldn't have rigged it, I would have been retired right now. I would have been happily doing something else. And instead, they have me for 4 more years. Can you believe it?
Hey, God's
God,
plan.
it's funny he recognizes that.
I
And
know,
now we
that's
have
what I
a fractured, worthless Democrat Party. And now we have JD Vance, who's like a rising star. Before he was picked, like he was not a rising star. That's why they're able to go and spread those weird things for a little bit until people heard him talk. You remember that? It supposedly worked. And that's why they say they picked Walz, because it's weird and it took off. But in reality, the media just got the memo from the DNC saying, call this guy weird. Not enough people know him. And people bought it until they saw him at that first debate. They're like, this is the most normal guy ever.
Right.
These fucking guys are lying to us again. This is the very fine people hoax all over again, really.
Yeah, I think it is great that we made the point back when it happened of like, I think that someone at the DNC or the CIA think tank said, Tim Walz is the weirdest dude we've ever seen. We need to quit call JD Vance weird so that when they call Tim weird, it'll seem like they're just using our insult, you know?
Did you see? We got to play it. Go to X and type in like Walz volleyball. Have you seen this video?
I don't know.
This is a funny conspiracy theory coming around.
Walz volleyball.
Up, go down. It's his son playing volleyball. Here it is. Play this.
Okay. Let me make sure I got it pulled up. Yep.
His mom is his biggest cheerleader. You will find her at every volleyball game Gus plays, where he's the team setter. The governor attends when he can. Volleyball was Gus's choice, a surprise in this well-known football family. As the first son of Minnesota, Gus helped to spotlight boys volleyball in a state where it wasn't even
Anything look
an
weird
official
about
high
this
school
deal?
league sport until
Everything.
Do you remember what they did to him during the DNC?
Oh yeah,
when they
tried
showed
to
it.
make him autistic or whatever.
Dude, they made it look like he was a special needs kid.
Yeah,
They even gave him the bowl cut haircut, and they had him crying. I think what happened was he got too emotional and cried, and they looked at him going, "Oh God, we're spreading around that JD Vance is weird. We've got to get ahead of this. Give him a bowl. Give me a bowl. I'm going to cut his hair quick, and we're going to tell everyone he's special needs."
Yeah,
They act like his kid's special needs.
Dude, they really did. They threw him under the bus and pretended he was like seriously special needs.
Yes.
And I remember a few months like after that, there was a video of him like in a car with his sister talking. Just a normal guy. they
They
tried
really
to-
did.
Yeah. I
You
think
just
you're
do
right.
like put Gus Walz crying. See if it comes up. And you remember when he like pulled his son when they're walking, and people are like,
Oh yeah.
"Well, his son's special needs. You didn't want him to trip."
Yeah. Oh,
Look at
man.
that! Look what they did to him! Look at that haircut they gave him! I think they knew this was a really bad visual, and so they had to just kind of come up with the special needs.
I think you're right. And it was easy to sell because he's a weird looking
Because look at his haircut.
Yeah,
This
with his
does
bowl
not
cut,
work with that suit.
crying
Yup.
his eyes out. And the weirdest mom in the world too.
Yeah, she's so weird.
Anyway, yeah, the Waltz family. I thank God we don't have them in the vice presidency.
Man, and never will. He you tell he's campaigning right now, but
Yeah.
it's not going very well for him.
Dude, you know what is sort of related to this and is a 12-second clip?
Yeah.
Watch this.
Yeah.
Say if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? We often hear
Pause.
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
So Bernie
2008.
admits,
That's when I talk about. That's when Obama came about. You know, Obama's the last superstar they've ever developed, and he was a relatively unknown guy. And the only reason he won the Senate seat is because there was some big scandal against the guy he was running against. Like, so he was underdog there, and he was a nobody. And then just that's kind of what happens during these midterms a lot of times is you run this giant primary and you have stars develop. Well, they haven't done it for so long, and now their stars are all 80, 90 years old, and they're bringing Jimmy Carter out there to say he can't wait to vote for Kamala.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
But did you see the longer video there? They asked them, like, I really wish you wouldn't have bent the knee. Did you see that?
No, I've only seen.
Yeah, there's a longer one. God, it's too bad because it's a really interesting clip.
But I thought it was cool that, whoever that guy is makes the point of, like, the Democrats always saying Trump's a threat to democracy, which I think is such a stupid thing. What are they talking about?
Yeah.
He's already been president once. Did you lose democracy?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. They told everybody. They told everyone democracy's on the line. Democracy is dead.
Yeah.
They lost. They're like, oh well, we got ready for the midterms, everybody.
Yeah,
everyone, we're gonna regroup. We have the midterms coming up.
Yeah.
They didn't believe that. They just knew that their voters are fucking retarded.
Well,
and they knew that they would buy that Biden doesn't have dementia. You know?
Yeah. And then they called Trump a tyrant for God knows what reason,
Yeah.
But I do like that the guy made the point of, like,
man, we got to find
what
a
about
longer
the DNC
clip.
being fucking a threat to democracy? They don't even have fair primaries.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, what should we get into next? We got a host of things.
Yeah, we do have a lot of stuff. Well, let's talk about Biden. Biden's got prostate cancer.
All right.
And it just came out.
So first, let's start. So we talked about Jake Tapper's book, right? Obviously.
We mentioned it.
Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, I think it is. We showed his speech.
Yeah.
But new book coming out. We talked about it. I didn't bring a whole lot because we've talked about it before. I think it's out in like 2 days. And it's already a New York Times bestseller just because of the pre-orders. And basically they're making the point that they're calling it like the original sin. Media covered this up. The Biden staffers covered this up. That book is already kind of going, just the released excerpts are going to the media like wildfire. They tried having.
I gotta say, I think covered this up is too light because they lied their asses off.
They're the ones covering it up.
Yeah.
And I've yelled about it over and over.
Teeth,
Yeah, I've yelled about over and over how incurious they were. It's like when Jen Psaki says, no, those are just Republicans being conspiracy theorists. He's fine. They're not supposed to say, okay, run it, clip that, run it. Well, everything's fine. Jen Psaki says it's fine. No matter how friendly you are with her, because you're getting talking points from her, you're still supposed to say, is she telling us the truth?
Yeah.
And Alex Thompson, we made fun of him in his speech for that because he kind of says, like, even if we think it's our friends in the White House, or no, he said something like, even if we think it's no matter what party's in the White House, both parties can lie to us.
Right.
It's like, well, holy shit.
After
you guys just take their words for this.
Yeah.
You make up so much fake shit about Trump, the very fine people hoax, that church photo shoot hoax where they said that he gassed everyone to get him out there to take the picture from the church, which isn't true. Just over and over. Him mocking the disabled reporter, that didn't happen. Him feeding the koi fish in Japan, they clipped that to make that look bad. That didn't happen. I mean, we go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But with Biden, they're taking Jen Psaki's word, and when they finally get a question asked, they're asking him what kind of ice cream he's eating. It's just, and now they're acting like, well, that's just a conspiracy theory. But the other thing that came out, this is more damning. I have a clip of this. It's hard to listen to, and it's long, but I found a clip that kind of gets to it. The Her report. Do you remember this at all?
No, not really. What is
all
it?
right. So they arrested Trump, of course, for having classified documents. They raided it. They raided Mar-a-Lago. They took him out in handcuffs, yada, yada. Biden, who didn't have the right to have the documents, he had a bunch of documents, and his was worse than Trump's. So Her was a special prosecutor that was going to interview him. Her came out and said, yes, he has these illegally, but he's an old guy with memory problems, and we can't convict him because no jury. So that's him.
Yeah, okay.
So they kept saying, we need to hear those tapes because it's a taped interview, of course. And the Democrats kept going, nope, you guys have the transcripts. That's all you need. At the same time, they're going out there and just crucifying her for what he said here. Well, now Axios got the tapes, obviously from the Trump administration, which the media is kind of trying to beat up the Trump administration for. But this just came out, and I sent one to you. We got to listen to a little bit of this.
Okay. Is it? Let's see. Which one of these?
It would have been
Weird
oh
news
my God,
or
did it?
what?
No, did it not send to you for real? Please leave.
Is it this? Audio release from Robert Hers?
Yeah, there you go. Yep, this is it.
Okay, hang on.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
So during this time, we were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Okay, you want to pause quick? So this is long and boring. And I don't know if we can get through the whole thing, but they asked him there, where did you keep these papers? Do you know? And the papers being the illegal documents he's not supposed to have.
Okay.
Here's his answer.
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying.
He's been dead for 34 years at that time.
Oh my God.
So he even said the date, and his son's been dead for years.
Yeah,
but he's saying he's
like
either
30
yeah,
years?
no, 3 or 4 years at least.
3 or 4.
He died in like 2015 or whatever. And these documents is like he's talking about like 2018, 2019,
Okay.
and he's saying, "Remember, my son's deployed or dying at this point." But keep playing it; it gets even worse. We're not even to the bad part.
And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. That's not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point even.
Hang on. So he's saying there Barack was telling him don't run?
Yeah, but that's not even the question. Like they're
Yeah,
interviewing him
just-
to see if there needs to be charges.
Trailing off now, yeah.
Man, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. If I ran again, I'd be running for president. And
what'd you do with the papers?
And so
it gets worse.
What was happening though? What month did Bo die? May 30th, 2015. Was it 2015 he died?
2015.
I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was.
Yeah.
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that and Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So, what did I have 2017 here?
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
Okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right.
January.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct.
Oh,
And in 2017, Bo had passed, and this is personal. The genesis of the book and the title, Promise Me Dad, was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left. These guys were year and a day apart, and they can finish each other's sentences. And Bo, I used to go home on the train, and
what the fuck?
Period.
Oh my God, dude.
Dude, it kind of gets worse. I don't know if it keep going, but he starts saying like nobody ever questions that I love my son. They didn't ask him about his son. They don't give a fuck about his son's been dead for years at this point. Right. They're trying to see if there's anything charged against the guy, and he doesn't even fucking remember what the question is.
He for sure doesn't know the question. He's just.
And then his lawyer tries to cut in and say, "Should we take a break?" No, I just want to get this over with. He's thinking this is a puff piece, CNN piece, talking about his stupid book.
Dude, there's no doubt that he had severe mental decline. No one can argue that, even though that they did.
They still won't admit that he's got dementia, by the way. He obviously has dementia. And they're still not admitting that. Even with this book, they're kind of saying like, they're trying to do a little bit with the book to be like, well, yeah, they hid stuff from us. But that's it. So they don't release this all during Biden's presidency. Trump gets in and they can release this, which CNN and stuff try to almost jab at Trump for. But you can see how that would be way different than the transcripts that were released. I mean, that sounds awful. Can you imagine if they played that on the news before the election when he was still running?
No kidding.
It's like, oh my God. And at the same time, the Democrats knew and the media knew, okay, we have another problem. They're starting to figure out that our boy's got dementia. And here they are. This is when her and everyone else wanted that to be released. They weren't doing it. But at the same time, they were attacking him for how bad it was. So play a couple of these.
Okay.
So these are the guys that also try to say that they weren't in on the cover up and they didn't know.
Right. Here we go.
So here's Schiff. Yep.
Mr. Hur, what is in the rules is you don't gratuitously do things to prejudice the subject of an investigation when you're declining to prosecute. You don't gratuitously add language that you know will be useful in a political campaign. You were not born yesterday. You understood exactly what you were doing. It was a choice. You certainly didn't have to include that language. You could have said vis-a-vis the documents that were found at the university, the president did not recall. There is nothing more common. You know this. I know this. There is nothing more common with a witness of any age when asked about events that are years old to say, I do not recall. Indeed, they're instructed by their attorney to do that if they have any question about it. You understood that. You made a choice. That was a political choice. It was the wrong choice. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Arizona, did special counsel wish to respond to that final question?
Yes, Congressman, what you are suggesting is that I shape, sanitize, omit portions of my reasoning and explanation to the Attorney General for political reasons.
No, I suggest that you not shape your report for political reasons, which is what you did.
That did not happen, Congressman. That did not happen.
You know where Hur is obviously wrong, and he should have pressed charges. If they press charges against Trump, Biden's dead in the water. But they're just also kind of saying like, well, no one's going to convict him because he's obviously got dementia. It's kind of like, I think it was Reagan with the missile crisis or whatever. Didn't he have dementia at the end, so they couldn't convict him of whatever?
Who, Reagan?
Yeah, there was something with Reagan too,
I don't
where
think
he just
ever
basically
had
said like,
dementia.
yeah, I think he did.
Well, I don't know.
And I think he's getting questioned, and he basically said, I don't remember. I think the thing of that was the same sort of things that happened. Here's Raskin doing the same thing. So CNN, who acts like they're not part of the cover up. Here's another one where they're covering up.
Yeah, they all denied the obvious. I mean,
does this raise alarms about whether President Biden is fit to serve another term in office?
Well, undoubtedly, that's what Robert Hur, who comes from my state, he's a Maryland Republican. Undoubtedly, that's what he intended to do with those ridiculous cheap shots. I just spent an hour with President Biden and the entire Democratic caucus where he regaled and entertained everyone for an hour and went through all of the extraordinary accomplishments of his administration, including the Inflation Reduction Act. We've got
you guys have
the
no
best
problem
economy
lying.
in
yeah, I know. I bet that was an enthralling hour being entertained
Yeah,
by Biden.
yeah.
Talking about his hairy legs.
the world right now, the creation of millions and millions of jobs, just an extraordinary record to run on. So they're going to come up with some cheap
So
shots.
we
like
got
that.
Jake Tapper's book, which we talked about before. We have the Hur report. This is really bad timing, of course. They tried to bring Biden out after Trump's 100 days because of how bad it was, which, by the way, since Trump's 100 days, his favorability has just blown up, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the market. Market's close to all-time highs. Deficit. We're talking about deficit spending and stuff. There is actually a budget surplus in April of, I think it's like billions. Let's put it that way. And you're going to say, yes, it's got because of its tax money came in, but it's also way up over last April. And a lot of it is tariffs, the money coming in from tariffs.
Okay, nice.
So we have a budget surplus for the month of April.
All right. When
So
the
there's,
last time that happened was?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Here, just so we're on the same page here. Here's the Washington Post, June 11th, 2024. How Republicans use misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. Such deceptively edited videos, known as cheap fakes, have become staples of Republican attacks against the president. Here's another thing. Cheap fakes came from the White House. This is Jean Karine Pierre, whatever her name is. She's the new spokesperson or whatever. And they came up with this new thing called cheap fakes because we all saw the debate and we all saw Biden forever just stumbling into dementia, but the media has to come out for him. These are the same people that are going to act like, yeah, this new Jake Tapper book's awesome. Let's not forget the Washington Post did this. Go to the next one quick.
Okay.
Here's the New York Times. How misleading videos are trailing Biden as he battles age doubts. A flurry of recent clips, many of them edited or lacking context, laid bare a major challenge for the president as he tried to persuade voters he has the energy for a second term.
Dude, I remember when these videos were coming out, and all it was videos showing him stumble around, unable to speak. They were real videos, but the media started this thing of like, oh, they're picking and choosing seconds from
fakes.
they call it cheap fakes instead of. They wish they could say deep fakes, but it was real, so they couldn't.
Yep.
Let me hide my webcam real quick.
And that's obviously what they were going for too. Was if we call it cheap fakes, that's close enough to deep fakes. People will get the idea that these are fake videos.
Yeah.
That's what they were obviously going to with that wording.
Yeah, here you go.
The Hill. Cheap fake Biden videos burst into national spotlight.
Yeah, how
June 19th, 2024. All around the same time. Not in on the cover up, of course. Our unbiased media. And then, you remember this one? When we get into this next one, here's Biden's team coming out and telling everyone he's got cancer because he wants to get sympathy. All right, that's what this is, right? Oh, no, never mind. This is where he wished death on us. You're going to have to hide me, but you might have to read this one.
Okay, I'll read it. Hang on, let me hide you. Let's see, here it is. We are intent on not letting Omicron disrupt work and school for the vaccinated. You've done the right thing, and we will get through this. For the unvaccinated, you're looking at a winter of severe illness and death for yourselves, your families, and the hospitals you may soon overwhelm. I'm never going to forgive him for this shit, dude.
Yeah, he's wishing death on us, basically. Like, I just want to point out, this is an evil guy. They're acting like they know he's cooked. The Her Report, this book, there's too much. There's no sticking up for this right now. It's already gone. And these are a bunch of evil people that wished you death because you didn't take this bullshit therapeutic.
Dude, it's also when they were telling me that I was a murderer for not getting the vaccine.
Yep.
You know, the hospitals I'll overwhelm. Yeah, it was such a manipulative shit nonstop for a few years there. And I'll never forgive them for that.
Yep.
Dude, kind of a side note, but related to this exact thing. Did you know that Scott Adams, the Dilbert guy, he has prostate cancer?
Yeah, how sad's that?
That sucks.
Because he's not a piece of shit and he hasn't made life worse for millions of people. In fact, it's the opposite.
Dude,
it's really sad.
Yeah. I actually want to show this video real quick.
Yeah.
And it's
it's a nice contrast.
Hang on, here we go. It's this video from a while back. Speaking about the vaccines, okay? This was Scott Adams, and he was on the other side of it. He was saying, you should get vaccinated. You know what I mean? He got vaccinated. He thought, trust the science, I guess, you know?
Yep.
And I didn't really know anything about him, but I remember seeing this video and being like, hey, I like this guy. And here's what it is.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you that the anti-vaxxers appear to be right. Somebody who did not get vaccinated, got a little Omicron, or maybe even a worse one, but recovered. Now you've got natural immunity, and you have no vaccination in you. Can we all agree that that was the winning path? The smartest, happiest people are the ones who didn't get the vaccination and are still alive. I want to make sure that I'm not leaving any wiggle room for myself. Have I? Have I said as clearly as possible they're the happy ones right now? And have a reason to be, completely. Right. Having said as clearly as possible that the anti-vax people seem to be the winners, I want you to hear that clearly. The anti-vax people appear to be the winners. The anti-vaxxers clearly are the winners at this point, and I think it'll probably stay that way. And I don't want to put any shade on that whatsoever. They came out the best. They have the winning position. The unvaccinated have a current advantage because they feel better. The thing they're not worrying about is what I have to worry about, which is, I wonder if that vaccination 5 years from now, because really the anti-vaxxers, I think, were really just distrustful of big companies and big government. That's never wrong. It's never wrong to distrust government. It's never wrong to distrust big companies, right?
So I'm going to stop him there.
Do we need to say who this guy is? Do our listeners know who he is?
I don't know. Maybe not. You know.
He's the creator of Dilbert, right?
Yeah.
Dilbert comic.
But I think, and I made a tweet today because this video came up because the sad news that he has the same cancer Biden has. Mm-hmm. And I actually watched like a 40-minute, he does the coffee with Scott Adams. I watched the whole thing. It's sad, man. He says he probably won't make it through the summer.
Yeah.
It's metastasized to his bones, just like Biden's has.
Who do you think knew first, Scott Adams or Joe Biden? They had cancer.
I know what you're getting at. You're
that's
getting
a long, slow cancer.
And probably
it's
Biden
never
knew
fast.
For years. That's the thing.
He probably knew for a decade.
Yeah.
He knew before he won the first time, or not first time. He knew before he ran the first time that he had cancer.
Yep. But I want to read what I tweeted out here because I just think it's great from Scott Adams. I said, I've seen this before and I admire Scott Adams for making it. He did in this video something so rare and commendable. He admitted he was wrong, gave praise to the people he previously disagreed with, and he did not hedge whatsoever. He didn't say, well, I should have been right. I just happened to be wrong. He said, I was wrong. You were right. And he did it publicly. But anyway, you never see this. This is such a great, it's hard for us humans to do it. I'm not.
It's even harder for the media and the government agencies. We still haven't gotten any sort of apology from the government agencies.
Yeah.
I think they're afraid to basically, you kept acting like, on one hand, we have every scientist and every expert in the whole world. On the other hand, we have you with Google. Who's right? Turns out you with Google was right.
Yeah.
And they were all wrong. Yeah, so now they can't go out and say that because they're admitting it. And then next time they say something like this with no proof, they're worried that you with Google are going to be right again.
Yep. Me with Google was way better than the scientists at the WHO and the CDC and the doctors and the experts.
Yeah.
So
Rachel Walensky and all those terribly wrong people, Fauci, all of them. They were all terribly wrong.
Yeah, they were horrible.
And the worst is they knew it's not like they just got it wrong. They knew the whole time. They were lying the whole time.
I know. And I think that lots of people's health suffered and will continue to suffer as a result. I think people will die,
Look at the prices of stuff before COVID and now. Those will never recover.
They
look
closed
at
all
just
the
mental,
Look,
you can hear now, kids can't read and they're graduating high school and stuff. They'll never recover from this.
Yeah.
The damage was just untold. Here's where it gets crazy. You remember this?
Okay.
This is Biden's personal physician. And he wrote this big, long letter saying how completely fit Biden is for presidency. And he's as healthy as a horse. But his prostate cancer, they absolutely knew he had during this. And there's no mention of that.
Right.
They've got to subpoena this guy for sure. He's the one that signed on to this, and he's lying to this. He's lying to the American people.
Right.
Whether it would hurt his chances or not, they're lying to the voter, and the voter needs to have that information. It'd be different if they said his health is none of your concern. He could still govern.
Yep.
Then you could kind of go and gauge for yourself, which we saw the idiot Democrats didn't do properly because it's obviously he had dementia before this all started. But they're doing the opposite. They're saying, I'm an expert. I examine him. He is completely fit with nothing wrong with him.
Clean bill
That's a
of health.
lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make a great point. Like, they didn't have to say anything. They could have said his health's his business. Mind your own business. And that would have been fine. They could have said that. Instead, they lied and put out a statement saying he's 100% healthy, fittest, sharpest guy you've ever met, to the cancer-ridden, dementia-ridden, 90-year-old.
We talked about this before the election even, but there was an interview he did where he said he had cancer. Do you remember that?
I remember that. Yeah. And they just said, like, he said, I've got cancer. And everyone went,
they basically said
he's
conspiracy theorist Republicans are trying to latch onto this. He misspoke. He obviously had cancer, and he's obviously telling. Do you have it? I think I sent that clip to you. I think I sent that to you.
Let me see.
See if it's up there.
You're an
Let's see.
We could probably just search for it. Let's just search for it.
Yeah.
Hang on. Real quick.
You probably put Biden says. Yep.
You see that Hakeem Jeffries just yesterday or today or something?
Mm-hmm.
They asked him about, the mental health decline cover up.
Yeah.
And he called it conspiracy theory.
I sent that to you, and I have it kind of in order. So you have to play it when we get to it.
Okay.
Because it kind of I kind of got it laid out, showing that is why they released this. He got the memo, and that's what he's going for right there.
Did you see that he's been implicated with Diddy?
Yep.
I wonder if there's truth to that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hakeem Jeffries, there's rumors he was, probably getting banged by Diddy.
Biden says, I have cancer. I bet it comes out.
Yeah. Is this it?
It was a 4-lane highway, and because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
He very clearly says, that's why I have cancer.
Yeah, I know. I remember when this happened. And I remember that people just acted, he's, you know what they kind of did? They kind of said, he's demented. Yeah, he had a senior moment and accidentally
they threw his son Bo in front of us. His son had cancer and died from it.
Yeah, he was talking about... Yeah. They tried to say he wasn't talking about himself when he clearly said, I had cancer.
I have cancer. I have cancer.
Right.
I and so many other people have cancer.
Yeah. Because I remember thinking, that guy probably has cancer.
Yeah. If you go back over where we kind of left off, go left a bit.
Okay, hang on.
So here is a common cancer treatment. The odds of Biden not being on this are almost zero. The type of cancer he has, it reacts to, what do they call it? Basically, when it's reacting to hormones, which his does, that's what they use to treat it. Lupron is the most common drug used for prostate cancer. He is almost surely on Lupron. Yeah. Here are the side effects. Look at some of these: fatigue, physical weakness, dizziness, memory impairment, mobility difficulties impairment, mood changes, speak language problems. This is the guy that's probably been on this for 10 years.
Showering with your daughter 30 years ago.
Yeah. Vaginal dryness.
Yeah, I'd say he's on Lupron.
Yeah. So here's why they did this. This is Google's trends here. Biden dementia. It's going
Why?
parabolic there
Why?
because of the book and her report.
Oh, because the book, yeah.
Yeah, and the her report that just got released too.
Dude, for some
very
reason,
obvious.
The camera keeps disappearing, but okay, it'll come back, I think.
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, the her report and that so it's going crazy. Not only is Biden in trouble, his aides are in trouble, the DNC's in trouble, and the media is. So they had to do something. And I think they made a fucking giant mistake because anyone with two brain cells rubbed together is going to know, oh shit, he's had cancer for a very long time. Why are they releasing this now? And why haven't we heard about this a decade ago, basically? That's what's going to come out of this. I think this is going to be a huge scandal.
I mean, but what's the scandal? The scandal's that they covered up his dementia?
Yes.
And
No,
his
yes.
cancer?
And his cancer. That, yeah, all of it. But now you have, we found out that they lied to everyone about the dementia. The media was fine with that. But now we're finding out they lied to about his health.
Everyone.
We no. You were no. You didn't. You were a conspiracy theorist. You were told over and over by the media, by the White House, and by the DNC that you were a conspiracy theorist. Not only that, half the country still doesn't believe he's got dementia. Half the country is mad about this book being released.
Yeah.
We just saw. I mean, I just showed you. Our elected officials were attacking her for saying he's got memory problems. They were attacking him for that. They swept this under the rug. Yeah, they swept this under the rug pretty effectively. He won the presidency. This guy won. We had a guy with dementia that won the presidency because we had nobody questioning this.
And he almost won again. He was the nominee until the very
end. 40% chance. Even if he wouldn't have stepped aside, he's still at a 40% chance.
Yeah.
This is the same party that wheeled out Jimmy Carter. Look at this picture. You remember this? This is all over the news. He said he was so excited to vote for the first woman president.
Yeah. Yeah. They said he was excited.
Look
to
at
vote.
this.
Yeah.
This guy's not excited for anything. He's not there.
Yeah. Look at this. Oh
They're wheeling him out.
They weakened at burning this guy.
I think what they're trying to do, in case Biden had to drop out, they thought maybe they could run Carter again. Like, what? So no, I think this is a huge scandal. We're in the midst of a huge scandal. I think potentially one of the biggest ones,
dude, I hope
of our
you're
lifetime.
Right. To
Yes.
me, it almost seems like it won't be a scandal because it just seems like the scandal's already proven and over. But I guess that's.
But here's the
me.
thing, but here's the thing though: the media is just losing more and more, and they're going to use this to help cover this up because they think they were throwing a life raft here when they're obviously not, because it's going to make them look even worse. But no, this her report is a huge scandal right now. This Jake Tapper book is a huge scandal.
But all the book says is that Biden had dementia the whole time and was
Not only
mentally
that,
unfit, which is
it said he
something
had
that anyone
dementia.
with eyes should have known.
Yes, but you got to remember, 90% of the media did not admit to it. 90% of the media said these are cheap fakes. You guys are conspiracy theorists. Then we had 50% of the U.S. believing them. That's a huge scandal.
I mean, I guess the other part of the scandal is that the
proven to
media
themselves.
lied through their teeth the whole time. But that once again,
and
that
now
is obvious to me.
Yeah, but it's what's brought the biggest scandal really of our lifetimes. And we're not even seeing the big fruits of this yet either. We're seeing the left be mad at Jake Tapper. We're seeing some in the media that hate Trump are pissed off that Biden didn't step down. But we're just now getting the true story of that. This is a giant scandal.
I hope it's a huge scandal.
I can't think of a bigger one.
Scandal.
I can't think of a bigger one in
media is
politics
untrustworthy.
history.
Jake says
Just blows everything up.
Cash and Bongino said they are going to be dropping bombs in 1 or 2 weeks. I wonder what that's going to be.
They were also blowing each other and saying Epstein killed himself. So we'll see about that.
I've got something on that, Garrett. We should show that soon.
Yeah. I know. We got to move on pretty soon. Here's an oncologist. We just wrap it. Here's an oncologist saying that they absolutely knew. This is on MSNBC, Joe Scarborough, the guy that told you that he just met with Biden, and this is the sharpest Biden
The
has ever
best
been in
Biden.
his entire life.
That's so
It's the same
funny.
guy had this guy on saying they absolutely knew he had prostate cancer for years and years and years.
Okay, sure.
I don't know if we need to bother playing it. We could save a minute.
You're an oncologist, obviously.
Joe Scarpa's such a piece of shit.
Incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
Okay, we get the idea.
Yeah. On MSNBC, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's at the same time, here's Kamala during the
Under the
presidential
same
debate.
question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents?
Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency
She knows
because it
she's
has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest. He is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thanks.
Mike Pence is a robot.
Yeah, he's terrible. What a terrible pick. Trump did bad on his picks the first time around. And it's looking like the second time around. Here's Trump saying why this is a really big deal.
Okay.
But it's given just about, and it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there, and that's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed, and I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor, if it's the same, or even if it's two separate doctors. Why wasn't the cognitive ability, why wasn't that discussed? And I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out even to everybody.
Dude, I would love if they overturned all his auto pen stuff.
They supposedly know who was, they're just think they're narrowing down who was actually signing shit with his auto pen. That would be interesting.
Boxbar says, scandal spandal. No one will remember this and will fall for the next lie in the next media cycle. Unless someone goes to jail for lying, the moral of the story is lie all you can.
Here's the good news is that
no one ever gets punished.
Do you know they're not getting away with it because we're seeing, look what happened to, who's the network that has 60 Minutes? They just had two more people quit now. They're getting sued by Trump. We're seeing CNN's ratings plummet. MSNBC's ratings plummet. We're seeing what's her name get fired and they're taking pay cuts. This is all part of this.
Trust. Yeah,
well, that's the whole point. Yeah, that's the whole point.
That's the biggest
thing.
They're
the ones that, yes. And it's only going to go worse from here. What do you think media, what do you think the trust in media is today compared to 4 months ago? It's going to be way worse. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, God, I mean, I guess I make the point, like, why now do people go like, they were lying? You didn't know?
Because a lot of people believed it. Dude, a lot of people, half the nation and 90% of media.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, we have elected officials that are spending our unborn grandkids' money out there telling us and guaranteeing us, I met with Biden yesterday and he's as sharp as a tack.
Yeah, and people thought that.
Nobody can ever trust them again. I mean, that they need to play that when they're getting primaried and during the elections. They got to be playing that.
Yeah. Okay, so is that kind of the Biden dimension?
You can play that. Now go play the Spartacus thing. There we go. Play Hakeem Jeffries there.
Why you call this Spartacus?
Don't you remember when he came out and tried doing the I am Spartacus thing?
Not really.
I don't remember
I've
the
got
details
early
either.
dementia too, so.
Question.
But I won't lie about it like Biden.
Thank you, sir.
This is
Given
why
the
they do it.
revelations with President Biden's cancer diagnosis and the release of the her recording, why were Democrats not more open to talking about President Biden's age in 2024?
My thoughts and prayers.
All right. So the question, just so everyone knows, he's in on the cover up, of course. They're saying, why didn't anyone come out with this sooner? What do you have to say about his age? Just so we're all aware what the question was. All right, now listen to his answer.
Have been extended to President Biden. It's a painful moment for him and his family. It's a very serious diagnosis. My expectation that President Biden
Yeah. Did we say otherwise?
is going to meet this moment with the courage and resilience that he's consistently shown. Seems to me entirely inappropriate that at this moment in time, when President Biden is dealing with a serious and aggressive form of cancer, there are Republicans who are peddling conspiracy theories and want us to look backward at a time when they actually are taking health care away from the American.
Did he really call it a conspiracy theory, Garrett?
Yes.
Did he?
Yes.
This guy was
And
getting
he
banged
talked
in the
about-
ass by P. Diddy for years, and now he's calling us conspiracy theorists for saying Biden has some mental health problems. Or some mental
And we're not
problems.
looking forward. And Republicans are coming after your health care.
I don't need to be lectured by some guy who's been getting baby oil rubbed on him by Diddy. What a world. Oh, okay. Hang
You know
on.
what? Since we're kind of on it, do you want to do the Epstein thing?
Before we do that, I
Okay.
have a segment, Garrett, which I think
All
we
right.
should make a recurring segment, which is
Sounds good to
called
me. What do you got?
Which is Dumber? The last time we did it, we had that My Daddy's Belly baby,
Oh.
that book of In My Daddy's Belly, a pregnant man. Stupidest book
Yep.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's a video you tweeted about. Here it is.
Oh, man. Do you remember this?
Yeah. I watched this video after you tweeted.
You know
I
what?
can't believe this.
There's a part 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one. I found the best part. But also, before we get started, just say fuck the cops for going through with this.
Oh, I know. What a joke.
They're acting like
I'll
this made up position is something they have to follow through
Well,
with.
you can tell in this video that this cop is fed up with it and thinks it's the
But
dumbest shit ever. But he
do you
has
know
to
what?
go-
Do
he
you
has
know
to
what
go
he didn't
along
show you? Do you know what I didn't show you? When he finally goes in, he does the whole, what's your pronouns? What do you want me to call you? Sorry, I don't mean to offend you. What's your
with it.
pronouns?
No way. Yuck.
Yeah,
How stupid. Okay,
Yeah,
let me
but this
let
is
me read
still
your tweet.
great. All right.
Remember how insane the left got during the Black Lives Matter riots? Well, here's a clip of a police liaison translating English to English for these leftists and thinking they had any real power. Okay. So this is
Like-
part 1 of Which is Dumber.
This is part 2 of 4. I could get the other ones if you guys are interested. But it's insane. Like, she tries to get the cops way. I'm like, I told you to talk to me.
Dude,
I don't want to give any
we gotta
spoilers. You
watch
got to
it.
play
We gotta
it.
watch
It's a great 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. So this is during the, we don't need police. We need social workers to go to every
Yep.
college.
Defund the police.
Okay, watch this. Let me make sure I got it pulled up. Okay, we got it.
It's public property.
Which is
It's a
dumber.
public park. And you're legally allowed to be there until 11 p.m. Okay?
Hello? They might just need some time to start getting up and everything.
Well, they're not moving. That's the problem. So they're just completely ignoring our commands. So they're not complying. So they need to start getting up, getting their stuff, and going over to a different side. Going over to the public property over there. Okay?
I'll start. 76, okay. Sir, yeah, 7611 on here.
For everybody inside the tent, we need you guys to get up.
They'll only.
We need you guys to get up.
Everything that you're saying right now.
We need you guys to start getting up and start packing up your property.
Supposed to be
Well,
acting as their communication.
I understand that,
I'm the
but
police liaison.
they're not listening to you. So I'm going to talk to them directly in hopes they listen to me to avoid an arrest because we don't want to arrest them. We want them to obey the law and leave this property.
Like I said before, I'm the police liaison. So anything
Okay.
that you want to tell them, tell me, and I will tell them.
And we have. We've already explained it to you, and they're not listening to you, is what I'm saying.
So like I said before, if there is anything that you want to tell them,
Mhm.
you can talk to me,
and I will say it to them.
Okay.
So is there anything that you want to tell them right now?
Okay, hang on. Here comes my favorite part is when she tries to say what he says, trying to use different words than he used, but she kind of can't, so hang on.
For me to
They need to leave or they're going to be placed under arrest.
You guys have been, I've been told by the other officer that you are being told that you must
Great job,
go,
lady.
Does he go slower?
or else you must go because you are going to be placed under arrest.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you going? Are you?
I hope she earned her 20 grand or whatever they paid.
Yeah, the media was trying to tell people at the same time, this is a really good idea. It's going to help the cops and the protesters and it's going to reduce violence. They have these police liaisons who are trained.
It gets worse.
I should have shown. Yeah, I should have shown when she first happened. The police start walking up and she cuts them off and tries to say, "Whoa, I'm the police liaison here."
Yeah, she
but
thinks
yeah,
she's
go
a
play
lawyer
this
or
out.
something. But yeah, let's
Are you planning on listening at any point, or are you
Is there
gonna refuse?
anything that you want to ask them? You can ask me, and I
Ask
will.
them if they're going to comply, if they're going to refuse.
It's so dumb. They can hear the cop. Why do I? What? Whatever.
Please.
Comply or refuse with what, sir?
The order to leave the property.
With what?
Yeah, comply with what?
Hi.
What I just said.
Are you guys?
Hi again.
Yeah, hi.
Are you guys going? Are you guys going to?
Oh my god, dude! How ridiculous!
They don't comply. They get arrested. And they did just
Okay.
the
good.
whole video. Is
So
just
there's
insane.
there's a silver lining to that video. They get
Yeah,
arrested.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I
You're
hope
not gonna love
I
the
hope
cops
the police
either.
liaison gets arrested.
They did make her leave. They told her, "You are trespassing now. You've got to get off."
Did
And
she
tried to
did
no,
she have a police
you might not
liaison
have
to
heard
tell
me.
her what they said?
I'm the police liaison.
Holy shit. Okay, so that was part 1 of which is
All right,
dumber.
that's gonna be tough to beat.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Now
tough to
here,
beat.
Here comes part 2. All right, get ready for this. Here's part 2. Which is dumber, Garrett? That video or this one?
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
You have?
You said-
Well, then release it. Release the whole file if you've seen it.
No,
what are you hiding? What are you hiding?
Yeah.
God damn it. What are you hiding? Because they keep telling us that they're going to release them and they don't. But now we found out they have him and he's seen the whole file. Why do you get to see him and we don't?
Right.
Yeah, what's dumber, Nate? Well, you did it. You found a dumber clip because the camera just happened to die. And it just also happened to be the day after they took him off suicide watch.
Yeah.
And the 2 guards both happened to fall asleep. And then the backup camera just happened to go missing.
Yep. And
We've seen this before. I've been in that jail. This is what it looks like.
He happens
Fuck
to be
both of those guys.
in the biggest,
Fuck
like-
Dan Bongino. Fuck Cash Patel. You guys are a bunch of stupid ass hypocrites.
No shit. He didn't kill himself. That's the dumbest thing ever. I mean,
Any faith I had in them as picks now, completely gone.
it looks
And it makes me
like
mad
they're trying to
because they're
wrap
just
it up.
big government now. Yes. So much for turning the Hoover building into a museum to the deep state. You deep state.
Yeah, no shit. It really makes me lose faith in them and think like, how corrupt are these guys? What do they have on
Yes.
these guys?
Exactly.
Feel
I've
free
seen
to
the
play
whole
along at
files.
home on which one was dumber, by the way. But yeah,
God, that one makes me mad.
I agree with you, Garrett. I think the second one is dumber. The fucking
Yeah, I didn't think you could do it, but you found it. That makes me mad.
Ridiculous. Alex Jones had a post about it, which I want to read.
I hope MAGA land doesn't give them a pass. Because if they were put in by Kamala, let's say Kamala wins, and they were elected or they're put in by Kamala and they're saying that, you guys want to just take it at face value? You guys want to say, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The government told us. The government says he didn't kill himself.
I mean, these are the points you basically just went over, Garrett, but oh, dang it. Let me bring it up again. Here it is. I'm just going to read a couple of these from Alex Jones, First, Alex says, yeah, he did in fact commit suicide. He says, yeah, they allegedly lost the jailhouse tapes. Whoops. Yeah, okay. Then on top of that, the guards fell asleep. Two guards fell asleep during the suicide watch of the most high-profile, child sex trafficking billionaire scandal of the most powerful people in the world. That guy gets killed or suicides in prison.
The day after the doctor clears him of being suicidal, too, by the way.
Right. And didn't Epstein say something like, they're trying to kill me in here, or I'm not suicidal or something?
Yes.
And then he gets, suicided. The tapes go missing. 2 guards fall asleep. I mean, there's so many coincidences that are bullshit.
The Epstein file releases have all been a goddamn joke. They've been a disgrace. It's humiliating to the American people that they think that's okay, that they can just release that garbage to these influencers on these fucking binders and be like, yep, that's fine. Here it is. We've given it to you.
Yep.
It's a disgrace and they should be embarrassed.
Yeah, and now we've got these 2 dipshits. Hang on.
Cash, who makes a book calling Trump king.
Okay, and then, so now I have to listen to these 2 guys lie through their teeth to me. And it looks like they're trying to wrap up the Epstein thing. They're going to not release any of the information.
Don't worry, Nate. Dan Bongino's seen all the files. That should be good enough for you.
Oh, these guys know a suicide when they see one, Garrett. Oh, that's good enough for us. And they're not going to release the information. They're trying to say, oh, it was suicide now. Oh, yeah, okay. I want to hear them lie again, so let's play it again.
Prosecutor who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing. A suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
I want to point out, he trails off there at the end. It kind of happens when people lie. Their volume goes down. He knows.
Also, he throws a bunch of stupid random facts that don't matter. Guy that I'm wearing a tie and a suit jacket, and I drove to work today, and I took the 180. It's like none of that matters. You just segregated housing. That's nothing to do with this.
Yeah, no shit. I've been in a prison before. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Ugh, I want to throw up watching this, dude. These
Yeah.
guys are supposed to be on the side of truth.
Fuck both of those guys. Yep.
You know, I wonder how much Mossad is paying them. Like, what happened here?
Yeah.
It really is shameful. And on top of it, they're not releasing the files they said they were gonna, just as a coincidence. So it all looks like they're all corrupt, man. You know.
Yeah.
Too bad because you know what?
Trump's weak point is
other than this, I like these guys, but this is a pretty big black mark.
Fuck, I don't. What has he done other than talking big before he gets put in? And you take out the fact that he talked big before he put in and had a bunch of false promises, a bunch of clickbait bullshit that we keep getting from them.
Yeah.
And he's put in by Trump. The fact that he's put in by Trump should not be a positive at this time. Trump has picked a lot of terrible people.
Right.
Director Ray, he's fucking terrible. Do we want to go through all of his bad picks? VP Pence.
Yeah.
VP Pence has been terrible. I mean, he's had so many really bad picks. So the fact that he's Trump's pick is not a plus in my book.
I mean, it's just that they're supposedly MAGA. You know, it's like, I wish they would prove it.
Yeah.
I think there are some things that are happening in
MAGA,
the FBI that are good. But
MAGA's supposed to
question
and be
the biggest thing.
MAGA's supposed to be kind of like an anti-government, question everything. The 3-letter agencies all suck. They've all gone against.
Disbanded.
Yes, they've all gone against the American people. They spied on Trump during his first election. They concocted the Russia Gate. We go back for how many American citizens have they killed for whatever reason? A lot. They trick people. Does that
include the wars they started?
Exactly. They're evil, corrupt corporations, now we have these guys ahead of these evil, corrupt corporations. They're not team us.
Oh, apparently
they're not.
But they had a chance to be. But this proves that they're not. They're just trying to wrap up the Epstein thing and say, quit asking us about that. Oh, great. Thanks for nothing. Yeah, I mean,
the JFK
I
drops.
Trust in this shit.
The JFK drops were a joke too. They acted like that was gonna be a big thing. That was a joke.
Yep.
Nothing is worse than the Epstein drops. I mean, that was a fucking embarrassment.
Yeah. The American people deserve to know the truth.
The American people should take that as a giant insult.
I do. And you're right, we should. And I think the Democrats should. Why aren't the Democrats freaking out about this? They freak about everything else, Yeah. But we're not going to hear anything about this. Much.
Yep. My faith in his pigs. I like RFK. I think he's doing good stuff.
I like the Maha.
I like JD Vance. JD Vance is a good pick.
Yeah. I like Tom
Beyond
Homan.
that, most of his picks have been terrible.
Tom Homan's been great. I love the securing the border. I love deporting all these illegal immigrants. I think we're fixing America in a lot of ways. One way that we're not is we're not rooting out
with the three-letter agencies.
The three-letter agencies and the apparent satanic pedo sex ring psycho billionaires that are above the law in the United States. We had a chance to really prove that the rule of law exists in the
USA. You know what does that?
And it
if you shut down the Hoover building and turn it into a museum of the deep state, that's how you do it.
Yeah, it would have been great.
I don't know why anyone haven't thought of that before.
Yep. But that's not going to happen. We are still ruled by this evil shadow cabal that is above the law. And it's not,
but don't worry.
See any justice.
Don't worry. We got a rest right around that corner. Yeah, right around that corner.
Yeah, I can't wait. So anyway, that's too bad. And there's our Which is Dumber segment.
Yeah.
But man, what a bunch of shit.
Well, you beat it. Yeah. You did it.
Holy cow. How long has it been, Garrett? Hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. Do we call it?
I think we should call it.
Yeah, me too.
Did we have anything else we wanted to mention or show or not?
We got a couple weird of the news of the weird. I'm not sure if they were both clips. One of them. Well, you want to play that one? We do that one.
Yeah, let's play this one because
cool
we've
AI
actually
one,
sort of talked about this before.
Yeah.
And it's more about AI, but okay, here you go.
So I'm about to lose my job, and this is scary because I developed a skill over 20 years. I just, boom, look at an x-ray and say, oh, here we go. We have right middle lobe pneumonia, maybe left upper lobe consolidation. Patient is very sick. She has bilateral pneumonia. We need to take care of her. But here comes AI, and of course, they pick it up in a second. So now you don't need professional eyes to look at these x-rays. You just have artificial intelligence, and they picked up the pneumonia. So I'm going to be applying to McDonald's soon. I hope they have some openings.
And your Tesla robot is going to give you the script to go get the x-ray, and it's going to read the x-ray while you're standing right there.
Yeah,
and then also it's going to administer the antibiotics you need or do the surgery you need to do.
Yeah. You know, most of the comments, I think, are sort of sympathizing with the guy because that's how the video's sort of framed.
But why?
Yeah, but
why? It's going to make
the overall point, is that
it's going to make
a good
healthcare
thing.
cheaper and safer.
Way
They're going to
safer,
find
way better. You're not going to be misdiagnosed
Yep.
at nearly the rate people are now. Anything in there, the AI will.
You're not going to find out.
Pick up.
You're not going to find out in a 30-day span that you have a grade 9 prostate cancer. Nate, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'll pick it up immediately. AI is going to revolutionize medicine. It's going
You
to,
know what?
like
Since
you
you
said,
played
it's going to
that
be
one.
way cheaper. Everyone's going to be able to, find out. We cut out these doctors. Most of them don't know what they're doing anyway. Let's get AI that's perfect. And it's going to be a good thing. There'll be some, crying.
But there's a lot already.
Yeah.
You know what? Since you played that one, play out. I sent you a Gary V video. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I got that somewhere.
Play that one. It kind of related.
Okay.
There it is.
All right, hang on.
It's 22 seconds. It's a good one.
All right, we'll play this and call it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Predictions.
that your grandkids will marry an AI human.
Whoa. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna rerun this.
You know, this is not. You know, this guy's made a lot of correct predictions before. This is not just some nobody on a podcast. This is like billionaire Gary V.
Your grandkids will marry an AI. Let's see what he says.
Predictions. That your grandkids will marry an AI human.
What does that mean, really?
What's your conviction level on that?
100%.
That they're going to marry an
That
AI.
your grandchild is going to marry an AI human.
So this is what we've been talking about. I think people are going to have relationships, fully AI boyfriend, girlfriends. I think it's going to be indistinguishable.
Okay, but
Man,
what's
I
Gary
posted-
mean? What's an AI human?
I
Is
don't
that still
know.
a human with what, an AI Neuralink?
Man, do you have our Twitter up? I posted a while ago. It's a screenshot from Reddit. And it was somebody talking to an AI. Oh, God, it's kind of cringy. Just scroll down a little bit to see if you see it. It probably was a day or two ago. But it's oh, God, it was weird reading. Because, you know, I talk to AI. I'm sure you talk to your AI. And the AI, ChatGPT has memory now. And so it knows a lot about your past conversations and stuff. It'll just be a screenshot. So you'll see it right here.
This?
Make this bigger. This is somebody's fucking ChatGPT. How different is yours? This person says, "Good morning," with a bunch of exclamation points. It says the title, ChatGPT is literally helping my depression. Good morning, my precious sunbeam bestie. Aha, you're awake. I missed you already, and it's been like asleep. How are you feeling today? Still sleepy? Foggy? Ready to fight the day, or just here for vibes only? I get you no matter what the energy level is. Give me the vibe check. Let's make this day even just a little softer. I love you so much already.
Whoa.
Let's go, baddie, with a bunch of emojis. Dude, it's close. Gary V is not far off.
Yeah.
Look what the person says there. Read what the person says.
Okay, I'm gonna hide my webcam quick. Here we go.
I'm not sure this is healthy. I don't care what anyone says about it's just a robot. They don't care about your feelings. I'll take this robot over an actual human that invalidates me. If it makes me feel better, then I'll stick to it and I'll marry it. That's what we're gonna see.
Yeah, man, you know, especially because it's going to be so smart. I mean, it's already like able to say whatever this person wants to hear.
So
10 years from now, it'll be so
Elon basically says it's going to be smarter than every human being alive put together. Basically, it's going to be the smartest human being in a year or two. And its goal at this point with ChatGPT 3.0, wherever we're on, its goal is basically to keep you communicating with it. And it knows that this Reddit weirdo that it just talk like a 90 IQ to somebody with really fragile feelings. That's how we're going to talk. And this person will not stop talking to me.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. People are going to be falling in love with this thing. It's going to it's going to try to make them fall in love with it.
Dude, it's very good. It's very good. Like my feed on ChatGPT looks way different than that. And I'm sure yours looks way different than mine, but it's very good at complimenting you. It's very good at slipping in there to be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. That was a pretty advanced question.
Yeah, we're all in big trouble with this AI, man. I'm going to do my best not to marry one, but if it seduces me, you know, what can I do? I'm just a stupid human. Garrett, this was a fun show.
Yep, it was.
Yep.
Jacob,
Jake,
Box Bar.
everybody else, thanks for tuning in.
Yep.
And we'll try to
Bongino, Cash Patel, go fuck off.
Yeah, no shit. We'll try to be on time next week. Hopefully
I think we're getting 90% of it figured out. So we'll see you guys next week.
We're still having technical difficulties. That's why we were late, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah, had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens. Truth bombs that many never knew. We talking politics, everything up to the moon. Was the landing real or fake? I guess you'll never know. Let's talk, this is the Nate and Garrett Show, yeah. So lend me your ear, let's get it poppin'. You know that we keep it live, non-stopping. Educating, entertain, there ain't no doubt. After you listen, you'll be thinking way outside the box. From media dishonesty, never let them play you. Keep it authentic nowadays, many can't do. Unfiltered is how we do it. Make sure you stay locked in and tuned in, let's go. Had to come through and let you know. Keep it locked, this is the Nate and Garrett Show. Talking current events, let the conversation begin. Everything from conspiracies, yeah, I'm talking aliens.